Good evening and welcome to Gabon 24. This is your news edition in English. Now let's go for the top stories. The fourth edition of the Africa Cybersecurity Conference was held from the 2nd to the 4th of October at DIvoire in Abidjan on Africa's roadmap for the fourth industrial revolution, digital transformation and cybersecurity. The President of the Republic, Ali Bongo Ondimba, took part yesterday in Libreville to the solemn hearing for the resumption of the Cote in his capacity as President of the Superior Council of the Judiciary. A young football coach in Nigeria's capital, Abuja, has been using sports to give hope and meaning to the life of young people who were displaced by terrorism. That's all for our top stories. Stay with us for more details in this newscast. We open this news edition with technology in Cote d'Ivoire as the fourth edition of the Africa Cybersecurity Conference was held from the 2nd to the 4th at Sopitel, Ivoire in Abidjan, with an emphasis on Africa's roadmap for the fourth industrial revolution. More details from Yanlei Mangoy in this report.
The fourth edition of the African Cybersecurity Conference kicked off in Cote d'Ivoire's Abidjan city on Thursday. The aim of the event was to shed light on the challenges in cybersecurity, and the conference theme is Africa Roadmap for the Fourth Industrial Revolution. Major digital players gathered at the conference to take stock of technological advances in cybersecurity on the continent.
We are here to prepare 2030, the estimated date at which the fourth industrial revolution will be in the full swing. And Africa, although late, has many raw materials to claim a respectful entry into this promising future.
Organizers hope to define socio-economic issues in the field of security and to understand how to preserve the continent's data. The conference was also an opportunity for many young people to discover new trends and innovations in the world of cybersecurity.
In Africa, the relationship between young people and technology unfortunately is linked with cyber scam and other computer setbacks. So for us to participate in these kinds of events is to enhance the image of African youth, to show that there are not only cyber criminals in Africa, but also some young people working ethically in cyber security to improve the continent's digital environment.
Studies show that many states, institutions, and even banks suffer huge financial losses every year from cybercrime on the continent. Experts attending the conference have made several recommendations to ensure a safer business environment in Africa.
It is necessary to train, inform, raise awareness of companies to not only go resolutely in the dynamic of a digital transformation, but also to take all the necessary precautions upstream and downstream, which means that the users of the services themselves must be trained and informed, not necessarily to become an expert, but it is necessary to remain alert.
Another American expert, Halil Azouzi, said that the legal arsenal must be updated.
We must set up institutions. We must update the legal arsenal by training all legal actors. The whole ecosystem around the law must be ready because cybersecurity laws are not enough, yet they must be enforced, and this is where there is a problem in Africa.
The fifth generation internet connection was also on the agenda during the 2 days discussion.
Let's get to Rwanda in the economic sector and take a look back at this ceremony, which marks the official launch of the activity of the first smartphone production unit in Africa. The Rwandan President Paul Kagame personally was at the Mara Phones factory to cut the ribbon. Jan Akenenge will tell us more in this report.
President Paul Kagame, who personally cut the ribbon at the Mara Phones factory, the high-tech company of a Ugandan millionaire Ashish Takal based in Kigali, this Monday. This ceremony marks the official launch of the activity of the first smartphone production unit in Africa. In Rwanda, the firm intends to produce high-quality smartphones at an affordable price and will initially offer two models, the Mara X and the Mara Z. Their particularities: a long-life battery, a large storage space, and a 2-year updated of the Android version thanks to a close partnership with Google. Firm believer in Africa's potential, Mara's phone CEO hopes to deliver good quality without compromising global standards. With this new unit, Marathon intends to contribute to the creation of jobs through the development of high-tech skills in order to add a stone to the economic edifice in Rwanda, but also in Africa. Beyond African markets, Maraphones is a worldwide exporter of made-in-Rwanda smartphones.
Still in economy, chairman of Dangote Group and Aliko Dangote Foundation, Alhaji Aliko Dangote, has demonstrated his philanthropic abilities by recently donating the sum of $20 million to a global non-profit institution. Let's have more in these details from Yan Lee Mangoy.
The donation was announced during the Future Africa Forum, where Dangote was recognized for his unusual support and passion for Africa. The main hall of the African Center, which is located in New York, US, was named after him as it was tagged the Africa Center at Aliko Dangote Hall. According to the billionaire, the funds would not be used to complete the second phase of Africa Center's physical space, so as to enable the center to accelerate its capital campaign and further activate its public spaces and programming, as well as support ongoing operations. He stated that the donation made through the Aliko Dangote Foundation is focused on supporting the Africa Center work in transforming global understanding of the continent and promoting partnership and collaboration between Africa and the rest of the world.
Again, in economy, U.S. stocks finished lower on Monday ahead of a new round of trade negotiations between the world's two largest economies. Here is the report.
U.S. stocks finished lower on Monday ahead of the new round of trade negotiations between the world's largest two economies. The Dow Jones Industrial Average erased 95.7 points, or 0.36%, to 26.47.02. The S&P 500 decreased 13.22 points, or 0.45%, to 2.93.79. The Nasdaq Composite Index was down 26.18 points, or 0.33%, to 7.9529. 10 of the 11 primary S&P 500 sectors closed lower, with energy down 0.92%, becoming the worst performing group. Communication services rose a modest 0.04%, the only gainer. Investors are awaiting the US-China trade talks, which are set to begin later this week. Wall Street is also expecting Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell's upcoming speech at the U.S. National Association for Business Economics annual meeting. Last week, a flurry of weak U.S. data raised hope for easier monetary policy from the Federal Reserve. Market expectations for a rate cut later this month were more than 70%, according to the CME Group FedWatch tool.
We are back in technology with Huawei. The multinational is working to build an inclusive technological ecosystem and at the same time expanding its 5G infrastructure across the world. More details in this report coming from Yan Akenenge.
Huawei is working to build an inclusive technological ecosystem while expanding its 5G infrastructure across the world, a company officially said on Sunday. Speaking on the sidelines of the GITX Technological Week, Mohamed Makdour, Vice President of the Huawei Cloud Core Marketing and Solution Department, said 5G as the latest mobile technology is transforming global industry and is helping to boost economic growth.
5G plus cloud, edge, and AI, they are the transformative technologies. They represent the hope for people like us to live better, the hope for enterprises to have better business economics, and also the hope for countries for economy. So I think what you will see expansion in some industries, and you will see more productivity. We can talk things about smart cities, safe cities. That represents a lot of capital and a lot of GDP growth. Health industry, financial industry. So those are all very important.
Has Huawei's 5G technologies already being used in the UAE and Bahrain? Makdour said that they are looking to serve more countries in the region and the world.
We're working a lot to get the ecosystem, inclusive ecosystem for services and applications. We have a lot of partners because that's what it takes for success in the Middle East.
Talking about the security of the new technology, Makdour said that the most important part of operators is to build an inclusive end-to-end security framework.
The security concern is not about Huawei or certain vendor or certain technology. It's about how you should build an end-to-end security framework that is integrated in your solution. this framework needs to be verified and inclusive. It doesn't have to be like just for certain vendor or vendors from certain countries. So we have to take pragmatic approach. My say on this is we should not hype it up or hype it down.
Global operators already have a rich experience of running the network, and Huawei has been supporting it for many years, serving 3 billion people. But in certain political situations and trade friction will intend to play a negative part in the innovation of technologies.
Operators, they already have a lot of experience in running their network. They have been doing this for years successfully. So why should we worry now? And even in Huawei, we have been supporting for many years, for like serving 3 billion people. So I don't think it's valid for Huawei, and we all know it is related to politics and trade war globally. We cannot decouple now the political situation from technology situation, unfortunately, and that's a really bad thing, and it will prevent more innovation to come into the ecosystem.
In Gabon this time, the Gabonese President Ali Bongo Ondimba yesterday in Libreville attended the solemn hearing for the resumption of the Cote in his capacity as President of the Superior Council of the Judiciary. This is the report.
The head of state attended the installation ceremony of the Attorney General at the Court of Cassation. Joachim Kidi, in the presence of the Prime Minister, as well as the Minister of Interior, Minister of Justice, Keeper of the Seals, and several other members of government. The promoted took this opportunity to express his thanks to the President of the Republic and the entire judiciary for the trust placed in him, and he committed himself to the task in accordance with the law. Later on, the President of the Republic, Ali Bongo, honored by his presence the solemn hearing for the resumption of the court, presided by Mr. René Abogue Ella in his capacity as President of the Council of State. The judicial review is held every first Monday of October and marks the resumption of the activities of the judiciary of the new year.
Now, let's end with sports news, as a young football coach in Nigeria's capital, Abuja, has been using sports to give hope and meaning to the life of young people who were displaced by terrorism. Yan Alimangoy in this report will tell us more.
John Dawa and Rosemary James are two of the youth who escaped from the atrocities of terror group Boko Haram and finally arrived at internally displaced persons camps in Abuja. Thanks to their footballing talents, their stories are beginning to change. After spotting their talents in the camp, Solomon John brought them into his football academy, an initiative he co-founded with his friend, where almost all the players are internally displaced persons from across 17 communities.
There are so many, not just the IDP, young people from on the South community. They have so much talent, but due to the pressure in the camp and due to the conditions they face in the camp, they can't really participate in sport activities. So I decided to take up the challenge to go there and encourage them to play soccer.
Twice every week, John, who is also a football coach, together with some friends who are volunteers, gather the players for training. Players have to put in their best to get selected. As a result of the dedication of the team, they've been able to achieve great feats within just 3 years of existence, including taking part in the football event in the US recently. Wisdom Abi is one of the footballers. He has been afforded the opportunity to go to a football academy in Germany, where he will be schooling and playing football.
See my dream coming to reality. I'm so happy. Yeah, he's the one doing all these things for me, and I hope to go bigger forward in my football.
Like Wisdom, James and Dawa share their experience in the US and are confident that time will come.
I'm happy I'm excited because even my mom, she did not even expect that I'm going to use the US, and by God's grace I'm there right now, and I thank God.
I hope to achieve a higher football, quality football, because I play soccer each day.
According to John, they don't have anyone funding them. Despite the difficulties, the passion to give life and new meaning to this displaced youth through football is still driving John and his team of volunteers.
All is well that ends well. We've come to the end of our newscast, but before we go, let's take a look back to our top stories. The 4th edition of the Africa Cyber Security Conference was held from the 2nd to the 4th of October at DIvoire in Abidjan on Africa's roadmap for the 4th Industrial Revolution, digital transformation and cybersecurity. The President of the Republic, Ali Bongo Ondimba, took part yesterday in Libreville to the solemn hearing for the resumption of the courts in his capacity as President of the Superior Council of the Judiciary. A young football coach in Nigeria's capital, Abuja, has been using sports to give young hope and meaning to the life of young people, I would say, who are or were displaced by terrorism. Well, that's all for our newscast of the day, but you can still follow us on our social networks, right now displaying on your screen. Stay tuned on Gabon 24 for further news. Goodbye.